And we are recording. Hooray!
All right.
Hello, everybody. Right now, I have in front of me Jill, also known as the Fiber Floozie. So, this is actually the first of my interviews with women. I haven't decided what to call this series because I have my Monday man. So should I call it my Friday Femmes, or Friday Femme Fatales, or maybe Friday Floozies?
Well, I would be your first Friday Floozie, wouldn't I?
Yeah, I know. Yes.
I'll always be first, David.
Yeah, you're my first. Please be gentle. So, in any case, so tell us, Jill, tell us everything there is to know about you in 5 seconds right now.
Okay. If anybody watches me, they'll know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, me too.
Because my spirit animal is the sloth. So
I love that.
It's also my logo.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, cute.
Yep. So let's see. I am in West Texas, in the middle of nowhere. There's only 4,000 in my county. And I'm here because I met Mr. Fiber online. And we have been together for 16 years this year. I think it's 16 years. So that's how long I've been here. I was born in California, and at the age of 11, my mom remarried a military man and married a military man. And then we went all over. So I have been overseas. I've lived in a lot of places. Wound up in Wichita Falls, Texas. My dad retired from Shepherd Air Force Base there. And that's how I wound up in this area. And then I married I have 2 girls, Chelsea and Carrie, and they're both a part of my channel. Everybody will have seen them. They're a big part of my channel. They're cheerleaders. They're cheerleaders for me, and I really appreciate them a lot. And they've helped me so much. When they started to really get involved is when things on my channel started to take off quite a bit, and so I really appreciate them. And so I was married to their father, and then right after that is when I met Mr. Fiber. So
cool. Yeah. I have been to Wichita Falls, Kansas, actually. That's where isn't that where Midwestern State University is?
It is. Yes.
When I was in Dallas a number of years ago working, I was there working. Friends of mine were doing an opera festival there, so I drove up to see.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What year would that have been?
I believe it was 2012.
Okay.
Anyway, so now you're in West Texas. So it's a shame because more recently I did go back to Dallas for probably 9 months, and with the intention of staying there, but I didn't. Now I'm back in North Carolina. I do miss Texas in many ways.
Well, you'll have to come back so we can meet up.
I would love that.
And that I've gone to one meeting there just in the last couple of weeks, and I plan to attend some more meetings, and that is the Crochet and Knit Addicts group from Facebook. It's the Crochet and Knit Addicts of North Texas. And that group is run by Nancy Weber, and I went to a meeting on the day of Worldwide Knit and Crochet in Public Day. And
wow.
Yeah. So we went to Starbucks and had our meeting there, and I plan to go back for more meetings. But that is 4 hours from me.
4 4 hours is about a quarter of Texas, right?
Yeah,
Because it's
because
uh,
everything's big in Texas.
exactly, exactly, except for the brains. But yeah. So then, how long have you been a social media presence with your yarn craft?
I was trying to remember because COVID has sucked some of this out of my brain, but not that I had COVID, just the world that was COVID recently
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
losing track of time of when things occurred and stuff. That's what I mean by that. But I want to say I started my channel in 2018 because this year in October will be my 3rd year anniversary, podiversary.
Cool.
So I've been crocheting my whole life. And I did learn to knit when I was younger, but it didn't stick until later, until just a few years ago. Like probably creeping up on 10 years now of knitting.
Mm-hmm. Knitting is
So
still a mystery to me, and I'm okay leaving it that way.
it's okay. But
There's
I
still
like calling myself bistitchual.
exactly, exactly. So then you have always have you done a lot for production and resale, for donations, for gifts, for do you do your own designs?
So I have done a lot for giving for charity and stuff. One organization I have given to is local to me, and that is the women's organization in Wichita Falls, and it's the First Step Inc. And they are for it's a domestic violence organization because that's a I have had myself and other people who have been affected that I know very close to me that have been affected. And so it's something near and dear to me. And I give through my Amazon, I have a link for Amazon Smile where I can set that up and everything that I purchase through Amazon, a percentage of that goes to them,
Hmm.
which has been a lot the last couple years because of where I am. And so I do quite a bit through Amazon, so that I have given quite a bit that way. And then at the end of last year, I have pictures in my group on Facebook, but I gave monetary donations, and then I gave donations of the things that I had made. And the monetary donations came from viewers who I had done a like a campaign, on my channel, and I had donations through my viewers. So I was able to go and drop that off down there. And so yeah. And then
Oh, that's lovely.
I have done craft fairs. I've done a couple of those. I haven't done many. My thought was in doing the craft fairs, and all of that happened right before COVID. So of course that was not going on. And at the same time, um, I had put my things in a local to me. It's about 20 minutes from me, and I had a place over there called Kaleidoscope, and they're still there. But I was renting a booth from them. It was a consignment, but I was not making my booth rent because, again, the situation, with the pandemic. And they did a very, very good job of trying to keep things going. And they did online stuff. They told people they would meet them out on the curb, all of those things, which was hard for some place like a consignment place to do. But
Hmm.
still, it just wasn't enough to make booth rent. So I pulled my stuff from there, and even some of that went to charity. So I have given away quite a bit, but I have also sold stuff, and I've also done some commission work too. I've made some some hats and a couple other things through commission, which was nice too.
Do you like to do commissions?
I do. I really enjoy knowing that somebody that wanted something I made is wearing it. That is just, it just tickles me to know that somebody's wearing something I spent a lot of time on, you know?
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I know some people become frustrated with commissions. So,
It is nerve-wracking because you really want to get it done and get it in their hands,
mhm.
you know? So,
do
and
you do
and
you?
being that I am not fast,
Sorry.
that I'm not fast.
Yeah. So, despite the floozy name, um, the
Oh, I'm fast to buy it.
yeah, yeah. Some people um, find that when they do commissions or do things for to sell, that the buying public, they devalue their work. Do you have that experience, and what do you do about it when you run into it?
I haven't personally had that experience as far as like anybody saying, well, I've heard of this happening, but I've not had anybody say to me, well, I don't think it's worth that. Or would you take less for it? I haven't had that yet. I've been lucky enough to not have that. But I don't I don't know the right way. I think you have to handle that on each situation as it comes up because kind of depends on where it's coming from, I think. You know, if it's online and somebody says something, you can just shrug it off.
Hmm.
If it's in person, then I think that it would be definitely valuable to have a conversation about what it takes to make something because that person is uneducated.
Hmm.
I
Actually, there was a meme that went. I don't know if meme is the right word, but a meme that went around some of the yarn communities on Facebook in the past week, where basically a story about someone who was a potential buyer who was bargaining based on the cost of the materials. And so the buyer didn't want to pay any more than the cost of the materials. And so the crafter said, okay, you've got a deal. Sent him a box with just the materials.
There you go. And that is a way in which one could make your point and be done with it. Yeah. I've heard of them saying, handing them a hook. Here you go. Go for it. I'll give you a ball of yarn. You let me know how that goes out. You know, let me know how it
Yeah,
works out.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
I had an interesting thought recently, and that was I was going through on my trip, um, and I went through the drive-through, and at McDonald's they had um, signs out saying that you know, they were looking for people. And I remember that there was a article about McDonald's, and the workers were very upset. They wanted $15 an hour, and I thought I can't get 15 for a hat.
I think you mentioned that in a discussion. I
So,
think they deserve their 15. I think you deserve a whole lot more than 15.
but where is our mindset? Is what I'm saying as as a consumer oriented country, which we are. The US is a very consumer oriented country.
Hmm.
We value food more, and I guess we all have to eat. I'm not saying food's not important. I just think the value and the thought process of crafting handcrafted items, it's a fight for us because that used to be a time frame, I think, in especially in this country, and I think it's now worldwide because we are everything is worldwide now. We are so connected now that everything is worldwide.
Hmm.
So the issues that we used to have just that were the same issues other places too. We just didn't know about it. We just didn't know because now we're connected. We know they have some of the same issues we do. But there used to be a thing in this country about handcrafted items, and that meant something. But what's happened to that? What's happened to that? I really, that pains me to know that we have to really fight for that.
Yes, exactly, exactly, and people approach these things, especially at craft sales. They think they're garage sales, and they want handcrafted items at Walmart prices.
Yes.
Um,
Or going to Hobby Lobby, and Hobby Lobby sells yarn, as we know, big deal right now. But they also sell knitted hats.
7-Eleven sells knitted hats.
Difficult to It is hard. I
So,
was also
yeah.
looking through the Hirschners and the Mary Maxim and those that sell kits for
Mm-hmm.
different items. So say there's a shawl kit and it goes for say $30. Well, the rule of thumb has always been 3 times your supplies. So you should be selling that shawl for $90.
But it's not going to sell for $90,
Not
is
going to
it?
sell for $90 because in your market you have to figure out what people will pay for.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's one reason I just don't do it for sale, because I'm not going to bargain on
Now
the
you
value of my
um,
skill and my time.
I think that's a choice that you have to make. You have to decide what you're going to do, whether you're going to do that or not. And you and
Mm-hmm.
I both have started going into patterns, and I think patterns are another way in which we can supplement ourselves. And you asked me about that, but yeah, this is mine.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I think that looks lovely. I like that.
And this is written for worsted weight. This was done with um, a Hirschner's brand, but it's Willow yarns. It was done with their
Mm-hmm.
Willow Denim Grace. I believe that's what it's called. And I have it here.
I'll trade you one of my patterns for that pattern.
Okay. And it's worked in, and what I was doing, I'm behind on my squares. I have a crochet along going for a square blanket, and one of the squares was done in this particular pattern here, and it's
Mm-hmm.
an arches. And so I decided willow arches would be it because I really liked this shell pattern, this arch shell pattern.
I
And
don't
then
believe
I
I've done that stitch sequence before.
and then I came up with this pattern here, which also looks like shells to me. Looks like a arch to me.
I like it. I
And
like
this
it.
is worked. The way this is worked is you start with this and you go long ways. So you chain several and then you work it and then you turn it and you go across this way and you attach it at the end of every row to this side. And
Mm-hmm.
then you will turn again and you will put a row of stitches along there and then you will add this side.
Interesting.
So it's a
I'm
little
not.
bit different construction.
It does sound like a construction I have not seen before, but I like the look. So where do
But
you get your ideas for new designs?
well, I knew I had bought that willow yarn and I knew that I wanted to do something with it. And then when I saw that stitch, I said, "Oh, I bet that would look really good because I like um, the tweedy, the heathered, the jean looking. I love all of that yarn. You know, all of that that looks distressed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really was wanting to put those colors together, and I thought, oh, that would be good. And this in the worsted is a little bit heavier, so it would be better for a cooler climate, cooler time of year. But I recently did one and sent it to McNeedles, which is in Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
and they have it in their store as a shop sample. And I did it in DK weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really love how it turned out in the DK weight. Let me see if I can find you a picture. Since I already sent it to them, I do not have the item here, but
I would love to have some of my stuff as a shop sample in one of those places.
it was so cool when she said that. I about fell on the floor. I was there visiting and of course shopping. And when she said that, I was like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Actually, I just might go out. I need to go out later today anyway. I might go to a local yarn shop and show them
Well, I do not have the
some.
picture. Um, it must be on my computer, but I did it in a yarn called Remix Light by Barocco.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a cotton blend, perfect for warmer climates. I loved the drape I got with it. It was just so, so pretty. I do have pictures of that on my Instagram.
Okay. So, and of course, you will provide me with links that I can put in the description
Yes.
for Instagram and Facebook and everything else in the world,
Yeah.
including your website. You were saying that is it still under construction or you're just updating it?
I have some new listings that are going to be going up, but the website is fully set up.
Okay, so then that link also will be in the description.
Yes, and I do have the pattern there, and I also sell the pattern in my Etsy store.
Okay.
I try to make myself available wherever people are because for me, I have found that not everybody does Facebook, not everybody does Instagram, not everybody even does YouTube. I have a couple of friends on Facebook that I'm friends with because we are in some of the same groups on Facebook. And they didn't even know that I had a YouTube. So, you know, it just varies. You never know what people are going to be doing, so you have to be everywhere.
I've had that experience as well. Some of the men I've interviewed, I met on Instagram. In fact, there's one I interviewed just yesterday who his interview will be posted in a couple of weeks. I met him. He's actually a high-profile YouTuber now, but I met him before either one of us had a channel through a Facebook men's yarn group, and you know, there is value in all of those communities, and frankly, that's the only reason I ever go on Facebook. If I get distracted by anything else on Facebook, I wind up furious.
Yeah. And it'll suck you in too, and the next thing you know, you're like, "Geez, how long have I been on here?"
No, that's my experience with YouTube, really, because yeah, because there are just so many different directions you can go with YouTube, especially like in the middle of the night when I should be sleeping, but I've got my phone in my hand and I'm just looking at YouTube videos all night long.
Yeah.
But
Oh, and also along the lines of designs, I'm just gonna throw this up here and make a little plug for my friend Daniel, but I do have my own.
well, it will surprise no one to know that I'm a big fan of Daniel myself, and
But I do have my own colorway, as you do as well.
Oh, of course I do. And I just happen to have it right here, and it's called Ginger Bear.
Yes,
Is that cute or what?
I
But
know it.
yeah, I
Twinsies, cheers.
exactly. So I'm still um, I'm still waiting to learn what this yarn tells me it wants to be when it grows up. Um,
Do you know what mine says?
what
Let's just hang out.
I
We're
know
just gonna hang out. It's back here
pe-
hanging out.
people see me embrace this yarn. They tell me I should make it a teddy bear.
There you go. It's a ginger bear. Uh-huh.
There you go. Oh, and it's fingering weight, and I've done very little with fingering weights on that. Also goes into my decision.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Since
I
I do
I
so many
I
shawls, it'll probably be a shawl of some sort, but I don't
I
know
think
yet.
it's fairly common, don't you, that as crocheters, they don't always work with the fingering weight yarns because you tend to have to use a much smaller needle, much smaller hook.
It very much depends upon the pattern. So many patterns are written for worsted or DK, perhaps at the lightest. Um, and I used to say I was 100% a worsted boy. Um, but I have learned to appreciate DK, and my sensibilities are moving toward lighter yarn more and more. So I will figure
And
out
then I do
something.
have another design.
Yes, I've seen that. That's gorgeous. Oh
So
my goodness.
this pattern is fully tested, written. Um, it is already in all the places. The reason it is not public yet is because I'm still working on the tutorial. So
Ah,
my designs usually, not all of them, but usually come with a tutorial. And I like to release the pattern when the tutorial's done. And this takes a little bit longer, the tutorial for this. But when you buy the pattern, you get the tutorial.
that was
Is
going to
how
be my question, whether the tutorials are available to one and
yes.
all, or are they only part of the purchase of the pattern?
So
That was a
so
question.
that yeah, so that would be the
Are
second one. And this is done in Daniel's yard, Pawpaw yard. This is done in
wonderful.
his.
So then your
That's a
tutorials,
collaboration that I have going with Daniel, a collaboration on that hat.
cool. So your tutorials usually are part of a pattern purchase as opposed to being available to one and all.
I have tutorials that are available, but the pattern tutorials, yes, they will come with the pattern.
Hmm.
I do have some free patterns out there, and those free patterns, I have tutorials that go along with those. So if I put the pattern out for free, the tutorial will be free also.
Cool.
Because I have, if you go on my website, I have a easy knit dishcloth, and then I have a second dishcloth, and I have tutorials for those. And then I have my easy triangular shawl. I'm kind of trying to remember if I have written that pattern up. I'm not sure if I've written that pattern up, but it's based on the knitted washcloth, and that
Hmm.
tutorial is for free. And I did a tutorial on the Lion Brand pattern, which was the City of Lights shawl.
Hmm.
And I had a viewer contact me and was having trouble starting that one. And once I started it, it went so quickly. I was like, well, I'm just going to do the whole thing. And then I just did a tutorial on it. And I I had released that initially left-handed, and then I got some new editing software, and I was able to turn it around and make it right-handed because I am left-handed.
So, what sort of videos do you like to do best? The tutorials or the yarn hauls or what else?
Yeah, I like the yarn hauls a lot. I think that's probably buying it and showing it is probably my favorite because one of the reasons that I am the fiber floozie is because I like to find different fibers and feel it and talk about it, you know, and show it to people. And so that's one of the reasons. And so I enjoy and I don't have any allergies. So I can I can work with like wool, acrylic, hemp, alpaca. Whenever
Hmm.
some's got alpaca in it, I always say it's packing. um, and there's so many nice blends out there now too that I'm having a tough time keeping up, you know, with all the I'm not like Crystal. Crystal can keep up, man. She's out there grabbing all that new stuff and showing it to us and I love it. So I go to her when I haven't been able to have the opportunity. I go over there. That's Bago de Crochet. I go over
Of
there and
course,
check
yeah.
out. But
So, then, yeah, I myself, I'm hardly a yarn expert at all. Do you find, well, let me say, I find myself wary of ordering things online that I haven't touched myself in the store or don't have experience with, because I've just had bad experiences with things that I have ordered. It turned out to be yarn that I didn't really enjoy working with. Have you had that experience?
I've had two or three that I just would never, I probably would not buy again. I would say that I enjoyed, even though it might not be something I really liked, I enjoyed the experience of having tried it.
Hmm.
So, but there's only been two or three of those that I would be like, yeah, I don't care if I ever really work with that again. I can't tell you specifically what those are right now.
Well, I wouldn't
Um,
ask for names, but
yeah, I'm not, I am not a snob though. So I want to try stuff. Maybe I won't use it again. Maybe I won't like it. Maybe I only collect it because I do consider myself a collector. But
mhm.
I just really like touching, feeling, working with it, you know, and I have so much stuff in my stash that I really want to work with that I'm like, you know, I got that because I really wanted to try it and I really do, but it's having the time to try it all. But yeah,
So
I've had some stuff that I would really not I don't really care for that much that I probably wouldn't.
I tend to look at yarn in tiers. Like there are these store brands, and there are some good store brands and some that I wouldn't use again. And then there are like the budget level of the major manufacturers. And again, there are
Yes.
some that I like and some that I wouldn't use again. And then more, there are nicer yarns from the major manufacturers, and then there are the more posh yarns. And I'm afraid my tastes are becoming more expensive.
Well, I I think of it this way. How much longer do I have to craft and how much of my stash will I get through? So, if that's the case, even though I collect it, I need to be more particular about what I'm going to work with because how many projects can I get done and work with it? You know what I'm saying? So I think
Exactly.
that's part of, you know, I don't, I had to, I was a beauty operator. I did not mention that, but I had a beauty shop here for um, 14 years.
Hmm.
and I had my beauty license for over 35 years. I got my beauty license in Texas. So when we came to this area is when I went to school. I was as a senior, and I graduated. I went off for a bit, came back, and went straight into beauty school, and had my license ever since. So 35 years or more is probably longer, but it started to wear on my hands. That was what got me that I needed to quit because I had some health issues. I had some stomach issues that I think were related to all the hairspray.
Hmm.
And then my hands were starting, and I used to do a lot of pedicures, and using the tools, I could not, I was losing my grip. We hate to lose our grip, don't we?
I lost mine years ago. Yeah, I
And
would think
so
that in that line of work, your feet and your back would also be an issue.
would think so, but I will tell you that the research on this is that the number one thing that gets a hairdresser is their liver pancreas.
Really? Is that because of all the chemicals they deal with?
Yes,
Wow. Because I know the liver is there to filter out poisons in your
filters.
system. Yeah.
And I think what happened to me was my stomach. And a lot of that was because I used to get a lot of headaches. I had very bad migraines, and taking migraine medications was hard on my stomach. And at the same time, here I was dealing with all this hairspray and other chemicals, and then as a hairdresser, you're a bartender in a way. You listen to a lot of things, and I became very, I am a very social person, and living out here, um, where I don't have a lot of people that I can go hang out with. I enjoyed that part of my job was being able to interact with everybody, the ladies, my ladies, you know. And it became difficult for me also because when I started to lose them, that was hard on me. And I will, to this day, I will tear up, so I'm not going to go any farther, but that was another reason why I just needed to walk away.
Well, yeah,
But
you can feel free. I've been known to cry on camera before. So,
it was very hard. Um,
yeah,
my
I,
shop mama right now is in the care home, and so
oh
um,
dear.
I'm trying to find it in here to go up there, and I haven't yet, but I will.
Mm,
I call her my shop mama because she was especially when my mama passed away in 2016. She was the one I started talking to every time she came in. She was my shop mama. So
yeah.
anyway,
Uh,
that's the kind of thing. And then so now my social interaction is YouTube and the family I have gotten here on YouTube. So I'm really
yeah.
thankful in spite of everything, whether I sold a thing, whether anybody bought a pattern, whether anybody, even cared or I made any money or anything, I have that. I have that socialization, that friendships and all of those things that's the most valuable part for me.
And the yarn community is amazing. I've had the same experience. When I first came to Wilmington, it was pretty much after my life fell apart in New York. So at that time, I really didn't have anything, so I stuck to myself. And then I went to Dallas and started to build community there. And then I got very sick, and then the world fell apart, and I came back to Wilmington just as the pandemic was starting. So
Right.
really, my social life has been YouTube as well.
Yeah. And
And
my daughter Carrie, she caught COVID, and she learned to crochet during that she learned to crochet during quarantine.
mhm.
So our community has grown a lot due to this. It's a lot
It's
of people, that became watchers, makers, and
Mhm.
channel creators themselves because they were home.
Mhm. Mhm. That's true. That's true. Um, a lot going on. I hope that it continues to go on as whatever the new normal is established. Um, I've been hearing that even though companies have been able to continue to do business with workers at home, now they're forgetting that and calling them back into the offices.
Yeah.
That is sad. Um, I always thought commuting time was a waste because I always had to spend a lot of time commuting when I was in New York.
Yeah. There's a lot of people out there, and I commend them. I have to, in order to go to Hobby Lobby or to Joann's or to Michael's, where all of the craft stuff is, because there is not a local yarn store to me here. The most
Hmm.
local yarn store I have is West 7th Wool in the Dallas Fort Worth area. There's a
And you said
store
that's
there.
like 4 hours, right?
It's 4 hours.
Wow.
But I do have the box stores now. If I go to Abilene, I'm an hour north of Abilene,
Hmm.
and there is a Hobby Lobby, a Michael's, and a Joann's there. If I go to Wichita Falls, which is an hour and a half south of me, there is a Michael's and a Hobby Lobby.
So, and the big box stores, they do have some nicer yarns, in
Oh
addition to
yeah,
some of the crap. So, I've gotten some very nice yarns there. And I've always said that I like service yarns, especially, I mean, if you're doing a baby blanket, you don't want, cashmere. You want a soft touch acrylic. And
if
there are
it's
some
your own
really,
baby, if it's your own baby, I think that you might. And if you're a maker,
you might
because
still,
well, you might. There are people that do, and they
I
do that
can,
for their own baby because they want. Who else would they do it for? You know,
it's true, but anything a baby touches, you want to be washable.
yes, it needs to be washable. It needs to
So
be
that's
soft at least. It doesn't need to
yeah.
be pokey or anything like that. So yeah, but
So that
oh,
that's
there's
why
a
you want a soft touch acrylic.
yeah.
Anyway,
And for
so
charity, I remember at one point last year, one of the I want to say it was Yarnspirations that they put out a press release saying, or he was on the news somewhere saying that they were not going to raise their prices as much as they could because they knew that 70 to 80% or more of their people who bought their yarns were giving to charity. And he said, I'm going to try very hard. And that was during all of that when it first started. So
that
I don't know about
actually
now,
that
but
is a fantastic public relations move.
it was. So, you know, they know what we're doing,
Hmm.
these
And
companies.
exactly, and you are involved with the organization that you talked about. I'm involved with Hat Not Hate, and and other people have causes that they are passionate about. Um, so I think it's wonderful. And it's. I'm sure that is one reason that some of your patterns are free. That's exactly why I make every one of my hat patterns are free. Um, to encourage that sort of action.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to do more of that too. I want to have the paid patterns, but at the same time, I would like to do some free ones as well with tutorials because I know how much people enjoy it.
Oh, speaking of which, have I asked you yet? You know about the charity ebook that I'm putting together, patterns. that when it gets put together, we're going to sell to benefit the Hunger Project.
I have not heard about that. I
Oh,
must have missed that video.
I should talk about it a lot more. I did make a video about it, but so if you would like to volunteer a pattern for that, I would not stop you.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that offline.
Sure. Let me know. So, what is this organization?
The Hunger Project. I looked into several hunger relief organizations, and this one appealed to me because, you know, those various websites that rate charitable organizations gave it an A in terms of its conduct and the percentage of proceeds that actually go into action,
Yes.
and the published salaries of the executives are a lot lower than what I've seen for other charities, that sort of thing. And also,
there's a lot more on the volunteer level, probably.
Oh yeah. And also, it's all about empowering women as a means of overcoming poverty and thereby overcoming hunger. And also, it's international in nature, as opposed to just being U.S. focused. So anyway, I will send you a link to that video that I did. And then it might have been last Thursday or something. I don't remember exactly. But we'll talk about that later. But we have been at this for almost 50 minutes. So we should probably call it a day. What would you like to leave our viewers with?
If you have any questions about anything I've talked about, you can email me, fiberflooziecrafts@gmail.com. And all the links to all of my socials are on my website, fiberflooziecrafts.com. Fiberfloozie@gmail.com is the email.
Okay.
And fibercrafts.com is the website. And there I do have all my links there. But yeah.
And I will also have those links, as well as your Instagram and anything else you want me to include in the description. So as soon as we sign off.
My thing that I want to tell everybody is thank you. Again, the most important thing to me is that anybody watches my videos and gets some enjoyment out of it, and that I get to interact and have the socialization, because that's the most important thing to me above all. No matter what I'm doing, whatever, that's what's important to me.
Okay.
And I do want to teach, so I just want to leave that there, that if there's anybody that needs help, one of the things I will be doing soon, and I want to be able to put a listing for it somewhere, and that is for classes. I want to be able to teach classes.
Oh,
that's something fun. That I wanted to do with my channel from the get-go, was to be able to teach.
Well, I think that's great. So I just want to thank you for joining me here.
Thank you.
And I want to thank everybody who's been viewing this whole video for joining us. And of course, as I say every time, like, subscribe, comment, share, all the standard YouTube crap, and keep coming back.
And you know what? I mean, I was just so happy to be your first Floozie.
And you have been gentle. Thank you so much.